Vehicle mileage is something that should be kept track of when it's related to your company. Not only can this be a valuable deduction for your business at tax time, but your employees will also appreciate being reimbursed when they're using their own vehicle. When looking at vehicle mileage reimbursement, the Canada Revenue Agency has guidelines as to what they deem appropriate. We'll look at this in today's video. Let's get started. What you should know about reimbursing your employees' mileage. Current rate. Currently in 2021, the prescribed rate is 59 cents for the first 5,000 kilometers driven within the year. If there are any kilometers driven above 5,000, the employee can be reimbursed 53 cents per kilometer. This rate applies to BC and most of Canada, with the exception of the Northwest Territories, Yukon, and Nunavut. They're provided with an additional 4 cents per kilometer traveled. As a note, under the reasonable per kilometer allowance, the Canada Revenue Agency states the amounts prescribed in Section 7306 are to be used as a guide. A reasonable per kilometer allowance can either be reasonably over or reasonably under those amounts. Canada Revenue Agency states that an allowance is reasonable if it meets the following three conditions. The allowance is based only on the number of business kilometers driven in a year, the rate per kilometer is reasonable, and you haven't reimbursed the employee for vehicle expenses related to the same use of the vehicle. These reasonable allowances, which then become reimbursements, are not included in the employee's income. As well, when the mileage is considered reasonable and is reimbursed, income tax, CPP, and EI will not be deducted. If you choose to reimburse your employee outside of these guidelines, or even at their recommendations, make sure that you have an agreed upon dollar value with your employee. So keep your gas receipts or track your mileage on your company or personal vehicles. Reimbursing your employee. When you reimburse your employee for their mileage, they not only need to provide you with receipts for the fuel purchases, but they also need to provide you with a log of their mileage. Here is a sample of what is included in a mileage log. The information that you're looking to capture with the mileage log includes the date, the start and end locations, and the purpose of the trip, as well as your employee needs to include the starting and ending odometer reading to attain the kilometers driven, as well as the reimbursement amount. With that being said, your company may already have a software program that can track your employees' mileage, such as the QuickBooks Mileage Tracker. This mobile app can make tracking mileage much easier, and it doesn't rely on an employee remembering what their mileage was if they forgot to write it down. As well, a mileage app may even be able to communicate directly with your online bookkeeping programs. No matter which way you keep track of mileage, it is very important that you have the employee keep a log separating personal and business use of their vehicle. If your company's ever audited, you'll need to prove the expense and that it was only for business driving. Also, remember to have your employees submit the log on a consistent basis that you've agreed to, whether that be daily, weekly, or pay period. Flat rate allowance. As a business owner, you can choose to pay your employee a flat rate allowance rather than a mileage allowance. A flat rate allowance is the payment that you would provide to your employee for using their own vehicle in connection to work, without having to account for it. This allowance would also need to be deemed reasonable by the Canada Revenue Agency. Combination allowance. Another option that you may choose is to pay your employee a vehicle allowance that is a combination of the reasonable per kilometer allowance and the flat rate allowance for the same use of the vehicle. This combined allowance is also considered to be a taxable benefit, meaning that it is included in the employee's income. Again, they may be able to claim the allowable employment expenses. If you choose a flat rate allowance, you'll also be dealing with any payroll taxes, CPP, and EI on this increase in salary. On the other hand, it may be more practical for your business to reimburse your employee for using their own vehicle compared to having a fleet of company-owned vehicles that you allow your employees to use. Your employees may also see this as a preferred method, as they may see this as extra money each month that they can save for vehicle maintenance or upgrades. This may be especially true if they aren't consistently driving a lot or if they have an exceptionally fuel-efficient car. Again, we suggest that you speak with your bookkeeper to determine which option is best for your business. Advance amount. As a business owner, you may choose to reimburse your employee, or you may decide to provide them with an advance for their travel. An advance is the amount of money that you provide to your employee in anticipation of expenses that they will incur for your business. If you provide them with an accountable advance, this means that they not only need to produce receipts for any money spent, but they're responsible to return any monies that they did not spend. Based upon the reasonable per kilometer rate, this is then deducted from the advance. If they've exceeded the value of the advance, then you would reimburse your employee for the additional amount. Again, this is not considered a taxable benefit if it's met the previous conditions that we've discussed. Need help from an expert? Understanding which method of mileage reimbursement for your employees can seem daunting. Let one of our experts at Valley Business Center help. For over 30 years, Valley Business Center has been providing comprehensive bookkeeping, payroll, and tax services to our clients in Whistler, Squamish, the Sea to Sky Corridor, and Metro Vancouver, BC areas. Valley Business Center provides reliable and effective services to all clients. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to hear more helpful information. Thank you so much for watching.